Hello, today we are going to talk about the second type of tissue and how they are different, diversity of animal tissue. In the previous lesson we talked about the diversity of plant tissues. Now we are going to see the difference in animal tissues. Animal tissue mainly are differentiated into four basic parts where each of them have different types according to their function they are performing. We have epithelial tissues, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and the last one is nervous tissue. So the epithelial tissue is divided to squamous epithelial and compound stratified epithelial. And we are going to see the types of each of them. And the connective tissue, we have proper connective tissue and skeletal connective tissue and vascular connective tissue. And the muscular one, like the smooth muscles, skeletal muscle and cardiac muscle, and the last one is the nervous tissue. Let's see each one in details. First, we are going to see the epithelial tissue. They are found over the outer surface of the body or line the internal cavities of the body. So they are found on the line of any cavity or on the surface of the body, and they are composed of great number of cells adjacent to each other and connected by what is called interstitial substance or intercellular substance. They are connected between them and they are composed of great number. Their function differ according to their size, and we are going to see each of them and their types, and then we are going to see their function. We have simple epithelial tissue and compound or stratified epithelial tissue. First, the simple squamous tissue. The first type of simple epithelial tissue is the simple squamous. Consists of layer, as we see here. This is the photo of simple squamous epithelial under microscope, and this is the diagram for it. It consists of one layer of flattened cells. The cells are flat and they are one layer. They are found in the lining of the endothelium of blood capillaries and the walls of the alveoli in the lungs. So they are covering the lining of the capillaries or the walls of air alveoli inside the lungs. The second type of simple epithelial tissue is simple cuboidal tissue. It consists of one layer of cuboidal cells, like we see here. This is the photo under the microscope, and here the diagram. It is cuboidal cells arranged beside each other, adjacent for each other. And this is found mainly lining of kidney tubules. The line of the kidney tubules are formed of simple cuboidal epithelial tissue. So they are covering different parts. One of them covering the blood capillaries and alveoli, which is simple squamous. The simple cuboidal covering the lining of a kidney tubules. The third one, simple columnar epithelial tissue, composed part of one layer of columnar cells, but they are lining the stomach or the intestine. So they are found inside the lining of the stomach and intestine. They are like columns, columnar cells adjacent to each other. They are tall cells, one layer of tall cells or columnar cells, which is simple columnar tissue. The next one is complex stratified epithelial tissue. It is a cell are arranged in many layers. It is complex because they are arranged in several layers, like the stratified squamous tissue. The stratified squamous epithelial tissue composed of several layers of compacted cell above each other. Each surface is squamous. The surface one is squamous epithelial tissue, and it is mainly found inside the tissues of the epidermis of the skin. Our skin, the epidermis or the upper part of the skin is mainly formed of stratified squamous tissue. So here, according to the location, these cells perform their function. Like in the small intestine, we have the lining of the digestive system. They absorb water and food and digested food. The skin, the stratified squamous tissue, they are protective, cover the body, and they protect us from dryness and harmness like the skin, and microbes and root like this as the skin epidermis. And we have the inner cavity of trachea. They secrete mucus to keep it smooth and moist. Unlike the lining of the intestine also, they secrete a mucus to help them. So their function differ according to the place they are found in. Now we are going to talk about the second tissue, اللي هو the second type of tissues, connective tissue. They are made of connective of somewhat distant cell. They are immersed in intercellular substance. So here the cells are not adjacent, they are away from each other. And we have intercellular spaces between them are filled by liquid or semi-solid or solid part. So it is filled with liquid, semi-solid or solid substance. Their types divided according to the kind of intercellular substance. According to the intercellular substance, they are divided. The first type is connective tissue proper or loose connective tissue. Second is skeletal connective tissue, and the third one is vascular connective tissue. So let's see each one of them. Proper connective tissue. It gathers between being fairly solid and quietly elastic. It is semi-solid one. So they has medium degree of solidity and flexibility because they are quite elastic, because their intercellular substance is semi-solid. Their function is connecting the different tissues and systems of our body. So they are mostly found in all the tissues between the organs. They are connecting tissue and different organs with each other, like under the skin epidermis and in the mesentery and the peritoneum, in the small intestine. All these parts, when we are connecting different organs or different tissue, we are connecting them with connective tissue proper. It is loose tissue. They are fairly solid and quite elastic because they are intercellular substance is semi-solid. The second one is skeletal connective tissue. Skeletal connective tissue, the intercellular substance is solid, where there is a deposition of calcium. The calcium is deposited inside it. According to the percentage of deposition of calcium, it may be bones or cartilage. When they are deposited, in case of the bones, it is precipitation of calcium. And their main function is to support the body. The bones and cartilage are supporting the body. So the skeletal connective tissue, they have intercellular substance, which is solid, which is the calcium in bones, which is mainly calcium in bones. The third one is vascular connective tissue, where here the intercellular substance is fluid. The intercellular substance fluid between, so it is mainly fluid. And this is mainly like the blood and lymph. And blood and lymph main function is transportation of the digested food, gases, and excretory material and substance. Transportation. They are like liquid and fluid carrying substance inside it move from one part to another part. So the connective tissue proper to connect the parts with each other. Skeletal connective tissue gives support for the body. And the vascular connective tissue, it is transporting system. It is fluid carrying from one part to another part. Let's go to the third type of tissue, which is muscular tissue. Muscular tissue, it is a special type of tissues because these cells give the organism the ability to move, as they can contract and relax. They are made up of muscular cells or muscle fibers. These distinguish from the other body cells by their ability to contract and relax. But not all the muscles are the same. We have three kinds of muscular tissue. Maybe cardiac muscular tissue, skeletal muscular tissue, and smooth muscular tissue. What is the difference between them? The first, smooth muscular tissue. The smooth muscular tissue consists of unstriated involuntary muscles fiber. As we see here, these muscles are contracting and relaxing by themselves. We can control them, and they have no striation. There is no striation in these muscles, and they contract and relax involuntarily. We can control them. Now, where we can find it? Inside the digestive canal. All the walls of the digestive system are contracting and relaxing by themselves. The urinary system, the blood vessels, all these contractions are involuntary, and they are formed of smooth muscle. The next one is a skeletal muscle, and the word skeletal because they are attached to skeleton. So they are consist of striated voluntary muscle. Voluntary because we are moving it, like our arms, legs, this stem of our body. If you look here, they are striated. The muscle is not smooth. We have a striation. So the muscle fibers here are striated. They are always connected to skeleton, like the muscles of arms, legs, and trunks. The last type of the muscles is cardiac muscle, and this muscle present only on the wall of the heart. Only the wall of the heart is formed of cardiac muscle, and the cardiac muscle is striated involuntary because it's working all the time. We couldn't stop our heart, or we couldn't make it pump more. They contain a different part which is characteristic for this, which is called intercalated disc. The intercalated discs, this part bind the muscle fibers of the heart with each other, and this is the reason for the heart to beat regularly as one function unit in a rhythmic way. The heart main contractions in a rhythmic way, contraction and relaxation in a rhythmic way, mainly due to the intercalated disc. So it differs from other muscle tissues because due to the presence of intercalated disc. It is involuntary and striated one. Now we can see the different types of muscle tissue: skeletal, cardiac, and smooth one, and how they are different. Here we have striation but no intercalated disc. Here we have intercalated disc and striation, so it is cardiac, and the smooth one have no striation and no intercalated disc. The last type of tissue is the nervous tissue. And nerves come from the nervous system, the brain, and the stimulation and regulation. So they are responsible for regulating of different function or body organs. The nervous tissue is formed of what is called nerve cell or neurons. This is the structure of nerve cell or neuron. It consists each nerve cell is the building unit of the nervous tissue. And if we look, it is formed of cell body containing nucleus and coming dendrite out of it, and a long axon, this is a long one, and ending with a terminal polarization or terminal ports for connecting between the different ports. So these nerve cells are connected to another one and other one connected, like this photo. They are connected to each other and they are sending messages which travel from one to another and one to another according to. So they receive the stimuli inside and outside the body and send them to the brain and spinal cord and send the orders from the brain back again to the responding organ. So the nervous tissue responsible for regulating the different activities of the body organs because they are specialized for both internal and external stimuli. The stimuli maybe comes from inside the body or an external one which conduct them to the brain and then stimulate the nerve move and send them to muscles or glands or any different part. So we have two types of neurons, the sensory neurons and the motor neurons. Sensory neurons, they from the sense organs to the nervous system, take the orders from sense organs, send it to the nervous system. The motors take the impulses from the central nervous system to the specific or the effector part, send it to the muscle or gland or any different part. And this is the last type of our lesson, which is the sensory or the neuron or the nervous tissue. Thank you and have a nice time.